Hey Gromies. Yeah, this is not a cultivation video, and if you thought it was, no apologies. This is a video that needs to be made, and this is the only platform that I really use. So therefore, I just wanted to talk a little bit about someone that I loved, and that was Ozzy Osbourne. Now, in order to speak about Ozzy, I've got to speak a little bit about myself, because that's just an interwoven story for me. And that's how Ozzy affected me. So first off, I just want to say that all my life, I've always told everyone that Black Sabbath was my first concert. And that's Bear. Come on, Bear. Come on. Come on. Sometimes he gets a little worried that, here's Bear right here. Sometimes he gets a little worried when he sees me recording a video, if you can believe it. And he's actually considerate enough to not try to disturb me, which is why I needed to call him in. And this is an informal video, so if you don't like this kind of format, well, that's cool too. But the reality is that I want to talk about my hero. I want to talk about Ozzy Osbourne. And if you don't want to talk about him, we don't have to continue with you watching. But if you do want to talk about Ozzy, and you loved Ozzy the way I do, then hit like, and try to give this video just a tiny bit of traction for Ozzy, not for me. I just want everyone out there to know that there's real people out there that were fans of this man. And, I guess that's a little selfish, because I'm millions and millions of people obviously prove that. So anyways, I always tell everybody that Black Sabbath was my first show, and honestly, it wasn't. It's just the first show that just totally impacted me in such a way that music profoundly changed my life forever. And that was in 1978, and that was at the Paramount Theater in Seattle, and the opening band was Van Halen. Ozzy and Black Sabbath were about to break up in the near future for a while, and they were about to be replaced with another one of my heroes, Ronnie James Dio. And Dio was such a huge hero of mine that I actually attended his funeral. So, just to kind of let you know that, it's not only the plant of plants that drives me, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So I stood there at that Black Sabbath show, and the only things that I had seen before that, although they're legendary and I've learned to love them much more in my older age, people like Johnny Cash and people like Roger Miller and old country artists like that were people that my mom really liked. And so she drugged me out to a few of those things. And the Black Sabbath concert that I went to was my cousin taking me to that. He'd actually taken me to another concert before that, and that concert was Led Zeppelin at the Kingdom. And I was really, I think maybe 7 or 8 at the Led Zeppelin show, and then I was a couple years older at the Sabbath show. So it made it a big difference, 2 years time makes a huge difference. Anyways, all I did was just stand there, just, holy shit. I'd never seen anything like Sabbath. And to be real, after all of this time, I still fucking haven't. Okay, Black Sabbath were one of the greatest bands that ever worked in the music industry. And not only did they work in that industry, they pioneered music. And this record right here, I've had this record, ever since the 4th grade. You can see it's pretty worn out. Although I was always smart enough to take real good care of the stuff, you know, and as far as the record was concerned, it plays pretty dang good. And you know, of course, it's more sentimental than you know, a collector's item. It's just, you know, it's more sentimental. Now, altogether, I saw Ozzy close to 40 times with Black Sabbath by himself in Ozfest and so on. Sometimes going from Seattle to Portland to see the next show and so on and so forth. And let me tell you, I've seen him in Arizona, I've seen him a lot of places. And everywhere that Ozzy played, he gave 110%. Even if his voice was gonna fail him, he wasn't gonna fail us. Even if he was worn out, totally worn out from screaming his ass off more than us every damn night on tour, Ozzy was out there giving it for us. And he loved us. And that connection was beautiful. I loved Ozzy. And, you know, so at one point when I was young, I was inspired so much by Ozzy that I became a singer. And, you know, I used to sing in bands. And you're looking at one of the only Seattle people who didn't make it that might have if he didn't have such a huge ego and wasn't such a dumb shit, you know, because in all honesty, I really wasn't a good person back then. And it takes balls of steel to admit that. But, you know, I went to this guy, Maestro David Kyle, and that was, he was the singing teacher that taught the Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. He also taught Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. Jeff Tate from Queensryche took a block of lessons from him, and Ann Wilson from Heart, the singer for Skinny Puppy, and I can go on and on. A lot of people studied under Maestro. And, you know, one of the biggest things that always affected me when I was, besides my ego, was if people didn't want someone who sounded like anything like Ozzy, I was always out, because I sang with this record so much that it just became part of my musical DNA. I wasn't trying to copy the dude. I was trying to sing along with him, and I was trying to be in pitch with him. And, you know, I had taken choir, I had taken a lot of different things, and I wound up sounding a lot like him. And it's funny, like my wife will tell me, you know, you sound more like Dio than Ozzy. And I always appreciate the compliment, because everyone always just told me, you sound just like Ozzy. It's not that I hate Ozzy, I wanted to sound like me. So yesterday when I found out that Ozzy had passed away after that, like, extraordinarily legendary freaking performance on that throne with Black Sabbath, who musically, like Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, and Geezer Butler, they delivered perfectly flawless performances. And at their age, that was also, a lot of people say that was the last time Ozzy was gonna perform, and it turned out to be true, which is, you know, it hurts. It really hurts. But, you know, also it was Sabbath's last performance. And it was the last time all four of those guys, the brothers that grew up in that tough area of England, that they actually got to perform together. And you know, they were legendary, man. Like, fucking Sabbath forever. Fucking Sabbath forever. And that's the truth, okay? And I mean, I know this is a weird ass video, but I appreciated Ozzy. This This is a drumstick from Tommy Aldridge. I got this on the Diary of a Madman tour. Why is this drumstick significant? Why is that record significant? Well, here's the thing is that, like, all of my life, this drumstick and that record right over there, like, you know, they've been with me. They've been with me everywhere I went. I lost the trophies I got for martial arts. I lost the trophies I got for football. One day when my kids were being mischievous, and they're twins, and long ass story there, but they actually cut up all of my belts that I had displayed on the wall because, you know, I had studied martial arts and I had my various ranked belts hanging on the wall. And somehow this drumstick from Tommy Aldridge from the Diary of a Madman tour, thrown out during the song Mr. Crowley, still came with me everywhere I went. And then, you know, and I think about memories, I think about things, you know, like not only just the weed that was around at the time when certain tours happened and so on and so forth, but I think about all kinds of things about my life and Ozzy being the soundtrack of it. And, you know, there was one special moment where at the Helping Hands bookstore here in Arizona, I was able to actually shake his hand. And, you know, I mean, he shook millions of hands, so I doubt that I was really any more important than any of his other fans to him, but I did get to give him a sentiment that I really wanted to give him. And, you know, that was, you know, Ozzy, thank you for a lifetime of music. You are the reason that I'm here. If it wasn't for your music and having a Sabbath show to look forward to, or Ozzy show to look forward to, or having a guitar part by one of your guitar players that I'm struggling to learn, I would have never, ever gotten this far. You gave me freedom in my free time. And, you know, I love Ozzy. I love him. And he's gonna live forever in my heart. And hope you guys got something from this video. If you're hurting like I am, I know, buddy, I know. My advice to you, crank up some Ozzy and celebrate his life. That's what I'm gonna do today. And with that, I have been Dirt Fender. Peace, man. I love you guys, and party on.